morning, guys. Good morning and welcome back to my channel. It's afternoon, but good afternoon and welcome back. I'm Lisa. Okay, so I wanted to do a quick recap of my trip to Jamaica back home and give you some tips, especially if you are a Jamaican returning home or haven't returned home in a while. And I haven't traveled there in a while, so I want to share with you some do's and don'ts, what I learned, and actually, yeah, what I learned. But it's a lesson, right? So let's start with, guys, so the number one thing that I should say to start off any trip, any situation, is to check yourself. So the lesson that I learned is that I was so upset in a lot of situations, but I should have just chilled out and relaxed, knowing that everything is going to work out according to God's plan. So even the littlest of mishaps or whatever is meant to teach us in the moment. But I was just so excited to be back home, and I was like, why is my trip delayed? So even some of the stuff that I said in previous videos up until when I came up to the trip, I was just like, I could have handled it better. It wasn't until if you remember when I was when I first missed the first flight, I had food at the restaurant at the airport. That's when I kind of had a moment to like chillax, but I was very reactionary instead of just taking it in a moment and just knowing that everything was going to work out fine, which in fact it did. By the way, new hair color, guys. New hair color. Check out my not too late natural hair, my hair channel. And if I look a little bit different, it's because I've been working out. When the whole town calls you fat, like mine did, or your family call you fat and say, oh my God, Lisa, you gained so much weight, it just motivates you to work out a little bit more, you know what I mean? But yeah, you know, Jamaicans tell it like it is and speak their mind. They try to be nice about it, but the fact is that it is a fact. I have gained weight since they last seen me. So then the number two thing that I learned from my trip, my recent, I'll call it my spring 23 Jamaica trip, because there will be more, God's willing, and hopefully get to go to different islands or go different places. So we'll see what the future holds, but just taking it one day at a time, right? But it's that in the past, way in the past, before I had my son, I used to travel back and forth to Jamaica a lot, right? And I always would stay with family, and I always would either ask my family or go to the bank to change out the money from US money to Jamaican money. But this time around, I decided to watch some video because I was like, I haven't traveled in a while. Let me keep up on the latest things that's happening, right? And because of the whole pandemic, and you know, a lot of stuff have changed also. So I was like, okay, I was so excited. I was even telling customs. I was talking to a lot of people. I love that. I love talking to strangers. I never used to be like this, people, but I think it's just the natural me. And people are so willing to talk to you as well. And I was like, you know what? I'm at the airport, and I'm like, I'm going to change out some money at the airport. It wasn't until when I got back and when I was talking to my son's father, like halfway through the trip, he realized that actually it was day 2 or something. He said something about, did I need to change out the money? And I said, I already did that. He was like, you did? He said, sometimes the rates can be different. Here's the thing I don't understand, and maybe somebody can comment and let me know. I looked up, like I've done in the past. I always look up, like every year, maybe I don't travel the year, but I always look up how much is the US dollar compared to the Jamaican dollar, right? So I knew it was 154, 1 US equals 154 Jamaican dollars. It wasn't until when I got to Jamaica during my stay that I realized that it varies throughout the country. One might say is 140. It's anywhere between 140 to 152. Why is it so much different rate? Why is it not the same rate throughout the whole country? That's the one thing you have to be up on. Always go to a bank. I mean, I didn't realize because I was so excited. I thought it was a lot of money I was getting back, and I said to her, how much at the airport? I said, how much am I getting back? They said it depends on how much I give them. So if I give them $10, that means it's a different rate for $10 versus 500, 1,000, 10,000. It's a different, it shouldn't be that way. Plus, I didn't realize, that they're gonna take off fees and stuff at the airport. So I could have had a lot more money if I didn't change it out, but lesson learned. That was my first time doing it. Not again. I'll just rather just go to the bank or have someone, you know, whoever I'm with, family or friends, have them change it out for me and whatever. I think it's much cheaper that way, because I'm like, things are expensive in Jamaica, but Jamaica's still beautiful. It's been a month later, a month and a couple of weeks later, and I'm missing Jamaica. I miss my home. So you're probably wondering, well, if you miss your home, why aren't you living there? Like so many of us who are from so many different countries who have migrated to the United States, it's all about opportunity. But you have to realize that sometimes your home has the beauty of it as well. It's just that you may not have the opportunities or money. What am I talking about? Let me tell you what I found out, what I learned. Jamaica sales tax. In Georgia, the sales tax is anywhere between 6 to 8%, depending on which area, you know, because you have high end, whatever. Where I live is 7%, right? Florida may have a different, like 8 or something. I'm just saying. New York, Washington, everywhere have a different sales tax. But guess what? Nothing compares to Jamaica. Jamaica government. This is why I say I need to become prime minister. Listen guys, guess how much the sales tax is in Jamaica? Does anybody know? Take a guess. You give up? 14%. So if I buy a bun and cheese, or I buy a patty or whatever, or if I'm buying something that's like electronics or something and you add on tax, or if I'm buying a ticket, 14%. Jamaica is so small, and Jamaica people are already struggling. Don't even get me started on the politics. Don't even get me started on the government. Don't even get me started on some things that need to be better, especially with the crime and stuff. So let's talk about the crime. So everybody, you know, here's the thing. We're now in May, guys. And I want to say a couple of days ago, the United States on their travel thing issued a high alert saying that nobody should travel to Jamaica and Colombia. Jamaica and Colombia are the top 2 countries right now, according to the US, that are dangerous to travel. Really? Yes, there is crime in Jamaica. Just like how there's crime in the US, there's crime in every country. There are some countries that have a better control of their crime rate and stuff that's going on in their country. I give them kudos for that. However, the most dangerous, if anything, it is a lack of I don't know, maybe the punishment, maybe catching, maybe the resources. I don't know. I've got to dig in more into that. But some of the things that's happening in Jamaica, as far as the attacks on the children and the women and all of this killing, unnecessary violence, it has to stop. It has to stop. Jamaica is not going to be Jamaica anymore if this doesn't stop. And I think we, as a community of Jamaicans, whether abroad or living there, we need to raise our voices and let everything be known, and also educate our young kids on the rights and wrongs and what the consequences will be if they do X, Y, and Z. So what I'm saying is that as a nation, as a world, we need to start praying and for good to happen in this world. It starts with prayer, guys. So hopefully with prayer comes changes, and hopefully Jamaica will be the sweet, sweet, sweet loving Jamaica where the crime population is down, and we're moving towards that. So I still traveled. By the grace of God, I still traveled, having faith that everything will be okay. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Because listen, lots of people out there that are from Jamaica don't want to go back to Jamaica because they listened to that and said, and be fearful. There's so many people I met who were not Jamaicans who actually went to Jamaica, heard that, and still went, and nothing happened. Now watch and see something happen or whatever, God forbid, you know what I mean? But the bottom line is that we have to have faith, we have to believe that we will be taken care of, you know what I mean? And that nothing's happening. Yes, I met so many people who told me, yes, there are like some violent crimes that have happened in certain areas. And a lot of it, guys, is internal, as far as families fighting families for land and property. Can you believe that? I was so shocked by that. Also, if you watch my, is it the second video, when Michael and I went to get breakfast and the guy was outside the restaurant, he was the owner, and I was asking him what kind of soup he had. If you watch that video, how about when I got back to the United States, I heard that they killed him. Can you imagine that? May his soul rest in peace. I was like, really? What for? Allegedly, possibly for family and land. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And there's more stuff happening to the family. It's just outrageous. I was like, wow, wow. Even going to visit my family in the country, in Trelawney, my in-laws were like, be careful because you haven't been out here in a while and you don't know how people, not my family, but probably the renters they were talking about or people in town or whatever, you don't know how they're going to react, you know what I mean? But my mother's town area, the little parish, everybody knows everybody. But that still don't mean anything because statistically, a lot of crimes happen within family and friends or people that we know. So once again, it comes back to education. It's about teaching people to protect themselves. It's teaching people to be aware of their surroundings and whatever. I can't believe I'm even making a video and saying these things about my sweet, sweet Jamaica, my sweet home. And there's crime everywhere, guys, and we just cannot live in fear, but we have to be cautious. So those are the major things that I learned while I was out there, like some things that are happening, what I would do differently if I go back and stuff like that. But guys, Jamaica is beautiful. Oh, I was able, thank God, to actually live out part of my dream. If you know me, then you know that I love the beach. So actually getting up most mornings and walking to the beach, which was down the road, and just taking a morning swim in the private area for just the residents. It was just me. The hotels were nearby, you know, but it was just me and a couple of people sometimes in the water. And sometimes I even met a couple that came off the cruise ship, and one of the drivers, they didn't want to hang out where all the cruise people were. They want to hang out and do something different. I love people like that, that's like adventurous like that, you know. And so they trusted and the guide dropped them near the private area where I was, and we had a lovely conversation. So I was so happy to meet so many nice people, and I met so many people that told me that yes, they've heard of the crime. I'm not saying to be oblivious and not be aware of what's happening, but you cannot let fear stop you from living your life and having fun also. So that part of Jamaica. Oh, and the food, I felt like we ate every single day, guys. Oh, it was so nice. It was so nice. And also, it may come across in the video that I don't know my mother-in-law. I call her my mother-in-law, but I don't know what to call her. Maybe I'm manifesting something. I don't know. But it's actually my son's paternal grandmother, you know, his father's mother. I know her. But so here's the thing. She owned a family Jamaican restaurant in Florida, and they recently, I want to say a few years ago, closed down and they're retired or whatever. But here's the thing. I know her, but it was she was always so busy running her restaurant. It was always like a high small talk, whatever. Only when one of her sons died that had a few moments, you know, to spend a little bit more time with her and talk to her. But on this trip, she, you know, she felt the same thing as me. She felt like this calling to go to Jamaica, just like I did. So it was a great opportunity for us to catch up, for her to know me more, but yeah. As for my son's father, Michael, you listen to my podcast on my latest one about Trust Jehovah. You will find out more. I'll get a little bit more insight in regards to our relationship. And basically, I just want to thank him because he was so nice and took me around, and my family knows him. I know his family. Well, in the videos, it may come across like we don't know each other, but we know. But it was my first time though at that residence, because they own a few homes, but that was my first time at that home, because we used to live in Florida. So I never, and when I came to Jamaica before in the past, I always spent it with my family. So a lot of my family has migrated to the US and only a few are still in Jamaica. And but yeah, so that's how it go. What else did I learn? Just that the food is good. Things are expensive. There's so many nice homes that are being built. It looked a little bit Americanized as far as the homes. There's a lot of Airbnbs, you know, so as far as doing Airbnbs for your home, especially if you're not going to be there, living there, but you own property there. So a lot of people are doing Airbnbs and making some money there. What else? There was a list of things that I had and I should have written it down. But overall, I hope that I am able to get the opportunity to go back to my beautiful home. But yeah, it was just, the first trip was just to refamiliarize myself back with my home. You know, like when you haven't been home for a while and you're looking around like, oh yeah, look at the tourists, like, yeah, oh yeah, this one changed, oh, this one grown up. Yeah. So now that I familiarized myself a little bit, it's just me getting used to day to day, you know? And I kind of get that. With Jamaica, you have to keep yourself busy. You know, you have to do stuff that you love. It is a struggle as far as making ends meet in some parts. And then I met a lot of retirees as well, especially on the beach, who were just living their life. And if they felt bored, they said they would just go back to either England or the US or wherever they're from, and then spend a couple of months there and then come back. You know what I mean? It's the luxury of being able to travel back and forth like that, you know? And hopefully by me traveling out there, back out there, some other family members, you know, can come back out there as well. And because, you know, there's a few that still miss Jamaica, but fear. But anyway, we're gonna erase all that fear and just go on faith. And guys, I hope that you guys enjoy my Jamaica vlogs, the spring 23 ones. Be on the lookout for more. And if I think of anything else, I'll probably put in the comments or do another video on it. But thank you for sharing your comments, liking, watching, subscribing, all my new subscribers. I'm Lisa. And oh, another thing. I was born in Kingston and I did live in Kingston for a little bit. We mostly spent time with my grandmother in Kingston, my maternal grandmother in Kingston. And I had no idea that my granduncle lived so close to us when we were in Spanish Town. So yeah. So when people ask me where am I from, I say Kingston because that's where I was born, you know. But I went to school in Kingston. That's where I should go next, is to visit the schools, the old school. Remember in my podcast I said, actually on this vlog I did a story time of the school, and I don't even know if it's still in existence because I heard that they probably shut down, but it was near Holy Childhood or whatever. If you know, then go. But anyway, I left Jamaica when I was young. and lived in the States for many, many years. And we used to go back every summer to visit the grandparents. So when my grandmother passed away, it kind of like started to slow down, and then my grandfather was still there, and he was able to come up here a little bit into the States. And then and then when he passed away, it was you know, and then there was still one aunt and her family there, so I would go visit, and my uncle was there, and then he passed away. A little before he passed away, I kind of like stopped going. And so now, so that's who you saw when I went to the cemetery, was them. It's interesting how they put his grave in between them, even though he passed away years later. I kind of like how they put his headstone. I think that should be the way of the future, to put that kind of like marble black one, because as you can see with a lot of the grave headstones, they're not cleaned all the time, so therefore some of the names are probably unrecognizable, because after all, it is stone, and with the dust, the dirt, and whatever, you know. But it was just amazing that when I approached my grandmother's grave, it was as clear as day. My grandfather, you can still see a little bit of the writing on there, and then my grandmother's parents are further down. We went together looking for it one time. They're further down, but as I was looking around, I can see a lot of the cemetery was not upkept. A lot of people don't like to go to the cemetery anyway, so a lot of it wasn't upkept. But it's something. I mean, Jamaica on a whole just needs some TLC, some tender loving care, and it starts from the government all the way down. But that's why Jamaican people are so resourceful. They don't wait on that, and they do what they have to do, you know what I mean? And keep on living, and keep on being nice, and keep on being friendly and loving, and being good cooks. And by the way, ladies, every single Jamaican man know how to cook. Every single one of them. So if they say they don't know how to cook, that's a lie. They know how to cook from when they're young, okay? They know how to cook, clean, and iron. So guys, they just choose not to. Just wanted to throw that in for all my single ladies out there. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching my videos. Stay tuned for more videos on my adventures here in the US, as far as if I should travel some more and what have you. So thank you to all the people that I've met along the way and will continue to meet. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you. Go, 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 go. And reminisce. Bye.